wake up, you sleepyhead. Get up, get up, get out of bed. Cheer up, the sun is red. Live, love, laugh and be happy. What if I've been blue now?
What we are doing here, why I am talking to you, is to see if I can help you awaken. Now, I'm not trying to say you're asleep, but all of us, in my experience, need to awaken ourselves spiritually. And what is that? All of us, in my experience again, are a two-part being. We're physical and we are spiritual. A famous man named Jesus once said, you have to be born twice. You have to be born of the water, in other words, physically born with a mother and father and the help of God, of course. And number two, you have to be born spiritually. And that, my friends, is where your decision comes in. In other words, you've got to move forward and direct the spiritual birth, the spiritual awakening. So for me, I choose to call that awakening. Wake up spiritually, because within that realm of the spiritual is where you go on a perpetual basis. In other words, if you if you want to go to heaven, if you want to live on beyond this life, what lives on is the spiritual. As I understand it, as I experience it, it's the spiritual. And what happened with me, certainly, is I searched for 40 years in religion, and I am a Christian. That is the religion that I came through. But I discovered that if I wanted to really experience the spiritual, I needed to go beyond what was in the church. So I went out and interviewed a lot of people who had an experience of being, quote, born spiritually, who were spiritually active, who tuned in to God and had conversations with God, who explored this old new frontier called the spiritual. And so after talking to a few dozen people who had experienced in their belief system that they had awakened to God and the spiritual and were having conversations with that reality. Therefore, I am inspired now to encourage people, and this is after I have talked to literally hundreds of people and interviewed them and so on. I've discovered that if you, as a human being, want to live a complete life, you have to be born spiritually. It sounds more contemporary to me to say you need to awaken yourself spiritually. And it is a conscious act. It isn't going to happen because you listen to a Sunday sermon. It's going to happen when you declare your life to be a spiritual one, that you want to expand yourself to a new level of life and living. And you want to expand your horizons. You want to open your life to your full potential. And think about this. The world you live in can only be experienced by you directly. No one else is going to see the world and what's going on in it the way you do. You have a built-in circuitry. You see it, you hear it, you touch it, you smell it, you taste it, And through those physical senses, you are experiencing the world according to you. And my name is John McComb. The world according to John McComb is what I experience. And if I want to go beyond this limited sphere, I need to open myself spiritually. I need to awaken myself spiritually. And I did that with a conscious decision. In essence, I believing in God or believing in this power that is greater than myself, whatever you want to call it. I asked that power to give me the ability to hear spiritually, see spiritually, etc. I wanted to turn, in quotes, to turn my life over to God or open my life to God, and therefore I needed to hear that. So what I discovered was that I needed to say, I am no longer going to operate on the strictly physical level. I am going to God or to the part of me that is a part of God and ask that to give me guidance in life. As I said, that was 40 years ago. And it was amazing. I was led, in other words, if I was going to go to that power for direction in life, then I had to be able to hear it. I had to be able to see it. I had to be able to understand it. So I discovered in the process of going inside myself and listening in the silence, I began to hear. And that hearing told me what to do next. And gradually, it's like going to kindergarten, I learned more and more until essentially what I'm doing now 40 years later is working at not listening to what my brain tells me to do, but to go at a higher level to what I would call the mind of God or supermind or universal mind, whatever you want. But I find that I can connect up with higher knowing so that I know every day what I need to do. And I have discovered, and I have faith in this, that if I go to that source, I can get answers that are peerless. I can have faith in that I am touching what we call God and getting answers for my life that are peerless, that are dependable, and not vacillating like my mind does, like my brain. My brain is the receptor, and what I use is what I see as the parallel is that in my mind, God gave us the internet. First of all, we got these little computers that could enhance our brain and expand on what we're capable of. Then on top of that, we learned how to interconnect all those computers so that they can collectively pull knowledge together. In other words, when you go on the internet, you Google whatever subject you want and you get the input on it. My experience is that is a pattern, I can't think of the name, but in other words, it's a model for us to follow with our brain and with the mind of God, that all human brains that are tuned into the mind of God have their own niche in that. Just as each personal computer has a part of the internet that it can feed into it and take out from it. And here we have a perfect mind that we can access and get the perfect answer for what's going on in our lives. How about that? But in order to do that, you have to awaken, you have to be born, you have to awaken, you have to come alive spiritually. Whoa, okay. And think about it just a little further. Just consider the fact that if I or if you have the capability of getting the right answer all of the time, then all of the worrying and sickness and pondering about where is my next meal coming from, or what do I need to learn, or what do I need to do today or tomorrow, if I can always access the perfect answer for me, tailored from that supermind up there, through my segment of it, to give the perfect answer for me that is always in total harmony with all of the other minds, all of the other souls that are tuned into that. If we can work in perfect harmony, then all of a sudden, what do we need a government for? We've substituted interactive human activity with governments, and as you well know, they are not a very good substitute for perfection. Let's get and what I'm saying is that if all of us can awaken spiritually to our potential as, call it, children of God, then worry and sickness and many of these things that come to us because of our uncertainty and our inability to know the right answer suddenly goes by the board. And we, as what pops into my mind is, and we can dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Think about that, my friends. Wake up. Waken your life. Explore the spiritual part of yourself, because it is the core of what you are. It is the perpetual part of yourself. Open that up, explore it, and find it out for yourself.